I don't think we often consider the impact of staying in the old state. One of the things that you said, and I might not get the words exactly right, but in your book, that really struck me was that essentially a human can't stay suspended in that level of stress and that level of uncertainty for a period of time without it having an impact on my health. And I was mountain biking as I was listening to your book, and I was thinking to myself, man, what genes have I turned on with this heightened level of fear and things, and what you said about evolution and fearing for life and all those things that have come, maybe more front and center. And I watch the news more. I never watched the news before, and all of a sudden I was like on Twitter learning things that were just, I can tell now based on what you're saying that I was addicted to the sort of rush I was getting, even though I wasn't feeling great after. Also then had this awareness just through the way that you frame things that if I turn them on, then I can turn them off. And if I turn those off, I can turn other ones on. So can you maybe speak to what is the cost that it has on the human system? And then like, what is possible from this work? And because I feel like I'm feeling the effects of it, and I want other people to recognize too what they can change in their lives and their circumstances.
When we live in that state of stress and we live in that state of survival, and we switch on that primitive nervous system, we're mobilizing enormous amounts of energy to prepare for that danger or threat so you can run, fight, or hide. And it's really adaptive, as I said, when you're being chased by T-Rex. But stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of homeostasis. Stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance. There's an innate mechanism to return the body back into balance and homeostasis, and that's called health, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when the body's out of balance and it's mobilizing all of its resources, that state of imbalance then is really to help it to survive in those conditions, and it needs all the energy that it can possibly get. So it works really well. Problem is that if you're reacting to a coworker or the traffic or the news, you're putting on that same system, and that arousal becomes addictive, right? So, and then we rely on those things to make us feel more of those emotions, and it becomes subconscious. It becomes conditioned. And you could think about the problems in your life and do the exact same thing. You can turn on that same system. And the long-term effects of living in that state of emergency downregulates and creates disease. It's a scientific fact. The body can't live in that state of emergency all the time. It burns out. And if you're thinking about your problems, then it means then that your thoughts could make you sick, literally, and that's the outcome. So is it possible then if your thoughts can make you sick, your thoughts can make you well? And that's exactly what our research shows. You keep thinking the same way, you keep making the same choices, you keep doing the same things, you keep having the same experiences and reacting to the same conditions with the same emotions. For the most part, your genes and your brain and everything is going to stay the same, and your blood values, because you're the same. So then the process of thinking differently, making different choices, doing different things, creating different experiences, and feeling different emotions, if you do that for 7 days, you have significant changes that take place on a cellular level, on your brain, in just about every part of your biology, because you're making those changes. Our discoveries really have to do with showing people that their nervous system is the greatest pharmacy in the world, that it makes chemicals that work better than any drug. We can say that with such certainty when a person moves into these states. The practical part of it all the time is the daily practice. People in our work that do this work, they do it really because they understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And when you combine the what and the why, the how tends to get easier.